Sitting in the Hall of Fame and the world will know your name. You know, when you hear this song, it's time to sit down, grab a drink, and listen into a very enthralling conversation here on Personality Profile on Joy 99.7 FM. I'm Lexis Bill, and of course, I've taken a seat on my favorite Thursday evening program. Well, how you doing? How's your day been? It's been a good one? Well, sit back and let's make it better with a very, very interesting conversation with an amazing guest that I have for you today. Before I tell you about him, remember this video is, the video for this conversation is live on our Facebook page. So if you're driving and you're going to be worried about, tuning off, no, not at all. Just log on to our Facebook page and you can join the live feed, or you can share it with your friends and family on your WhatsApp or, on your social media, and they will definitely also tune in as well. Anyway, so this evening I spent time with a very young, hard-working business leader who is transforming a very critical sector in our economy. Yeah. He's a great man, very fun-loving person. I've personally been following closely what he's been doing, the innovations that he's doing with his team and securing strategic partnerships to help the real estate industry in Ghana. Tell you what, he worked as an estate manager with St. George Property Developers in Chelsea, London, in the United Kingdom. Later became a branch manager at Crossland Estates, also in London. He's got a real vast international experience when it comes to real estate, very invaluable, from the United States, working as a business analyst and operations manager. And later on, after distinguishing himself in the role for 4 years, he was promoted to the position of customer support manager as well with Fannie Mae in the United States. But in 2017, the president of the Republic of Ghana said, look, come over and come help me. Yes, he appointed him as the managing director of the State Housing Company where he currently works to promote the government's housing policies and initiatives to create a better housing and real estate industry. He holds a BA in Arts, Law and Sociology from the Kwame Nkrumah University of Science and Technology, an HND in Marketing from the Kumasi Technical University, and an MA Public Administration from the University of Baltimore. He is the managing director and member of the board of directors of the State Housing Company Limited, Mr. Kwabena Ampofo Appiah, and we affectionately call him the virus. My brother.
My brother.
How you doing, man? So good to see you.
Good to see you.
You look well.
Thank you. It's been
Forever.
almost 2 decades.
2 decades or more.
Oh, yeah.
Boy.
Yes.
And I'm so happy. I mean, things go full circle, and you get to
It
meet
does.
the brothers and you realize that you're doing amazing stuff, and I'm so proud of the journey.
You're doing very well.
Thank you.
Every time I listen, she was like Lexus. So I'm proud of you.
Thank you so much. And I'm happy to see you as well. I mean, doing amazing things. I've been following a lot of the projects that you're commissioning here and there. I think recently I saw that you secured a strategic partnership with the Ghana Medical Association. That was
Yeah.
just a couple of days ago,
Yeah,
wasn't
that
it?
was actually yesterday.
It was yesterday?
Yes.
Yeah, I saw the videos and I was like, wow, this is an amazing move. You're doing so well.
Thank you. And I'm just hoping that these are baby steps that we can build on to do bigger things.
I see. How has it been generally? I mean, in your role in life?
It's been okay. I always believe that I can always get better. Yes, if you are at 1 this year, next year let's try to get to 2.
Yeah.
And then move on with it. Baby steps, and try to build up on it. I believe that is the only way that you'll be able to grow anything that you're doing.
Are you content with the steps you're taking? Are you content with how far you've come personally and also with your organization?
I believe we can do more. I'm satisfied, but I believe that there's more room for improvement. There's so much that we can do that we've not done yet, and I believe that we can still push forward and do much better.
No, I was particularly impressed with the Ghana Medical Association providing about 200 homes,
Yes.
affordable homes for young health professionals and whatnot. Give me a bit of insight into that.
So, Lexis, I've always believed in that. Housing is a human right, and in Ghana, we have to be able to change the way that we provide housing to Ghanaians. If you are born in Ghana as it is now, basically, before you move into your own home, for most of us, for most people, you'll be paying 2-3 times what other people in other jurisdictions would be doing. Because, for example, Lexis, if you a young graduate from Kwame Nkrumah University, if he is lucky to get a job, then he'll have to rent. Then he'll have to look for land to buy.
Yeah.
Then have to now build gradually. As the person is doing that, they're also renting. So basically, they're paying twice for their house.
That's true.
And I've always believed that that is something that we should be moving away from, and get into a space where a young person who wants to be able to own their own home should be able to pay once for their home. And so in the last 6 years, some of us have been pushing for a change in that paradigm, where young people are able to get affordable homes, and especially with affordable mortgages. And I'm happy that now we are at a point where we have that going forward, where we have the National Affordable Mortgage Program and the National Affordable Housing Program working hand in hand, whereby young people can be able to get mortgages at a very low interest rate for a long period of time. So they'll be able to get a home early in life and then pay over time.
Yeah.
I see a lot of people, when they are close to retirement age, their number one stress is, where am I going to retire to? That is how come you see a lot of people in their 60s who are looking for extensions in their contracts, etc. I mean, I've worked in countries where people 2-3 years before their retirement, they're actually writing that, can I retire early? Because they want to go home and enjoy what they've been able to travel the world when they were still young. But in our part of the world, it's actually the other way around. When you have people trying to reduce their age, they're trying to get it right for extensions. You could see frustrations in people's faces. And if you speak to them, mostly it's because of housing.
Okay.
And that is something that, if for anything, the last 6 years, I would say that being able to move away from that to actually start something like that is something that pleases my heart. It's something that gives me satisfaction. That at least if we build upon it, we'll be able to have a better housing industry in this country.
I'm sure you've had a very long day with work. Let me not switch you into work mode, because I know when you start firing work mode,
I'm very passionate about housing. So if you go there,
we will go there eventually. But let's get to know you a bit more. And really, that's the focus of this conversation, because some of us know how the journey maybe some part of the journey from Kumasi and whatnot, your friends and family in Kumasi. I mean, you're a popular guy in Kumasi. I mean, the Ashantis love you. Osekrom loves you. So let's get to the story. Get to know a bit about you, your growing up and all. Were you born in Kumasi?
Yes, I was born in Kumasi. I was born in Kofonochi Teaching Hospital in Bantama.
Oh, okay.
Actually, my mom at that time I was working with the Ministry of Health as a pharmacist. So we lived in Bantama Nurses Quarters.
Oh, right.
That was my first couple of years.
Yeah.
And then we moved to Denyame, just down the road. And then later on down to Santasi.
Right.
And that's where I lived till I moved out of Kumasi.
Now I understand why you've quickly secured a partnership with the Ghana Medical Association.
That did not really inform it, but I come from a medical family.
Okay.
Most people in my family they are either doctors or pharmacists.
Okay.
We now have one nurse. So I come from a very medical family. I think that influence is probably from my parents, who are both in the medical field. So it is. I think I'm the dark horse. I'm the old one.
I wondered why you are not there, because I mean, Dr. Ampofo, what's up?
So it's a long story. I think when I went to Pukuari school, and for my O levels I was doing science. That's because I was expected. I mean, everybody was expecting me to become either a pharmacist or a doctor. And my interest at that time was more into entertainment in terms of event organization.
Yeah.
Because every event that you see in Kumasi, I'll be there.
Don't make it sound too posh. Every party.
Yeah, you can call it that way. So it was It was just a different. I think I was different. Of course, being the only boy also in the family at
Oh,
that
you were
time.
the only boy?
Yes.
With how many girls?
Two.
Two, okay.
So my little sister, she's a doctor. My big sister is. I mean, they're all in the science, following after my parents. So, being the boy, everybody was like, okay, he's gonna be either a doctor or a pharmacist.
Yeah.
And I remember the first time that I told my mom that, look, I don't think medicine is really my.
You told her that?
Yeah, I told her that. I was like, look, whether you like it or not, that's what you're gonna do.
Wow.
So it was kind of that was how it was then.
Yeah.
Going to the sixth form, I switched at that time because it got to a point in school I was actually, because my interest wasn't there
At all.
At all. Yes.
But where did you pick that interest in entertainment from?
A few weeks ago, I was actually discussing this back with my dad, and he was like, "Where did you get this from?" And I was like, "Look, it's not me. I think that even in my family, I mean, if you look at one of my uncles, even though he was, he did all the science and all that, he was still a DJ.
Okay.
I mean, my little sister, who's a doctor, she's the one organizing everything at the hospital now for them. So even though she's a doctor, she's still an organizer. She still likes entertainment.
Right.
My little cousin, William Donko, I mean, he's a brilliant sharp chap. But he's still a DJ in Accra. I mean, it's something that I think is somewhere in the blood that we've not really harnessed.
Yeah, I think they were trying to suppress it, but you brought it out.
Even before me,
Yeah.
I mean, even my elderly uncles, I mean, they were still doing it. But I think because at that time, back in the day, to be respected, you have to either be a doctor, a pharmacist, or so. That was what we were all being pushed to do. But I think I survived.
In fact, you were a rapper.
Oh, come on! That's yeah. I used to rap.
You used to.
I used to. I
remember some of the bars. I think we should give you a microphone right now, right?
No, you need to do more than that.
Well,
but,
really?
I mean, it's. I used to. I mean, I've always thought. I mean, there were times that I thought. I've been thought about. One day maybe I'll come up with a rap album.
Oh, is it?
Oh yeah, I did.
You thought about it?
That my friends at that time were talking about Kwabena,
Yeah.
talking about all those people. That was all that we used to do.
Yeah.
They would come back, back on campus in my room. We would do mixes and stuff.
Yeah.
I mean, that was.
You need to give us a freestyle. Honestly, this one. I need to
maybe let's do that at the end of the show.
At the end of the show, okay, we'll sign out with a freestyle because I know it's still in the blood and you're passionate about entertainment. I think it was just a couple of weeks ago that I saw that you met some of the musicians in Kumasi with His Excellency.
Yes.
The Vice President?
That was the vice president's wife.
Samira Bal,
yeah. Once in a while when I go back home.
Yeah.
I mean, I think that there's a lot that we can do to help with that, with the craft, with the entertainment industry in Ghana as a whole. And so I still keep in touch with especially my American boys. I think there's a lot that we can do.
Absolutely.
There's a lot of guidance that we can pass on. There's learnings that we learned along the way that I believe that we can support them coming up so that they don't have to relearn some of the experiences.
No, I'm happy that people like you recognize that they need the support because, I mean, they're doing a lot, especially the American boys, like you're saying.
Oh, yes.
I think earlier this year, the Grammys released the genres and there's Ghanaian drill in there. And these guys have been championing this for a little bit.
Oh, yes.
So they need a bit more support to...
They need the support. Yeah. They need the exposure. They need the guidance.
Right.
And I believe that, I mean, and I'm not being biased, but I believe, when it comes to rap music, it's Kumasi.
Oh my goodness. You're about to start a debate right now. A debate that I know Achebe Kwame and Stone and the boys will be excited about.
Oh yes.
Because there's so much talent in Kumasi.
There's so much.
I mean, I worked, of course, on radio in Kumasi for a long time, and of course, we helped harness a lot of the young people. So I know that how passionate they are about entertainment, about rap, about music, and the talent that's in Kumasi. So I totally agree with you. Yeah.
And it's awesome, and I believe that. And so it was during one of our meetings that it was a lunch meeting, and semi about me, I was happened to be in Kumasi.
Yeah.
I said, you know what, I'm with my boys, we want to pass over. I said, oh yeah, why not? I mean, she's a big fan of Asaka.
Okay.
So when I said I was with J Bad and all those, it was like, look, I'm coming.
Wow.
So she came. We had a very good conversation, and we are carrying on. And I believe that that's some of the exposure that people who are rap musicians in Accra might take for granted, but in Kumasi you don't get that very often.
Yes, that's true. Anyway, was it during that era, your OWAS era, that you got the name Virus?
Actually, it wasn't. That was a little bit after OWAS.
Okay.
It was chanced on by me with that. You know, every time that you don't like something, it sticks.
Yes. So, the voice will put it on you.
Oh yes.
And now it's stuck. It's anyway. I like that. So after school, you literally told your parents that, look, this science thing is not working for me.
Yes, and my dad, who's listening to us now, he agreed. He was like, look, it's not everybody that go for your passion.
Yeah. But were you doing well in school?
Oh yes, I was.
Brilliant student.
And exactly, and that's, I always say this, that the fact that somebody is getting all A's, especially the person is getting all A's in everything, it doesn't mean that the person has to be a doctor.
Okay.
The fact that somebody's doing well in school does not mean that this is where they're supposed to be. Of course, I mean, in nowadays, I mean, now is a bit, their teaching now has changed, but you can actually take a book, chew everything, go and write an exam and pass. It doesn't mean that is your passion.
Right.
It just means that you can retain it, and that was the teaching at that time. And so yes, I believe, and my little sister, I always tell her that you could have been the best fashion designer, because if she's cutting pieces, you could see like such precision that she does it with. I mean, when we lived in London, she used to cut my hair.
Oh.
And I didn't go to the barber. She would, and she had no training. One day she just like, look, why are you spending money? I can do this. I was like, have you done it before? She says, no, but I can do it.
I can do it.
And she gave me such a great haircut.
And then saved you some pounds, man.
It saved me a lot of money. So, and I say that, and she was like, well, maybe that's also because I also had to be a surgeon, because you use the same skill as in being a seamstress, as being a surgeon. So yes, there could be a lot of seamstresses and tailors who could be very good surgeons, but maybe because they didn't get opportunity.
Yeah.
The same way that there could be a lot of surgeons that they could have been good designers.
Yeah, I know,
so,
absolutely.
So that is how it is.
So after school, what did you decide to do then?
So after school, after KNUST, I moved to London.
Okay.
I moved to London.
Before you moved to London, you worked in Multimedia Group Limited.
Oh yes, sir.
and I really didn't even know this part of it, But at some point, you had a stint with Love FM.
Yes, I did. Love FM in Kumasi. At that time, I was doing a lot of events. We had a number of event houses. Called Media A Plus, Jade Promotions, etc.
Right.
That were doing that time, rap competitions, rap shows.
Okay.
For example, every time I meet TikTok, I tease them that, look, I was the first person to put you on in Kumasi, so give me that respect. You are not proudful. But that was back then. So in the middle of it, I think Love FM started, and then that time was Marcus Bafaboni,
right,
who gave me a call one day and was like, oh, I'm with Love FM now, and we need somebody to help with events and promotions. Can you help? Can you come down? And so I went there. I met with Teresa, who's now with
Chatterhouse,
Teresa Iwade, Edem Lumo, and all those. And then I ended up with Love FM for a while. Wow. So coming to Joy FM is actually a homecoming for me.
Yes, it's a homecoming. Absolutely. Yeah. It's a very interesting story.
Yeah.
How was that period?
It was I think that that time probably I learned a lot working with Love FM at that time. Probably more so than anywhere else. There was a fantastic team back then, and I made great friends. Edem is still a buddy. I mean, we still still call him, and I had not seen or met Teresa in a while till a few months ago when we bumped into each other.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
yeah, so it was a good learning experience.
Great. And afterwards, you actually moved to London.
Yes, I did. I did. So in London, I started working in a real estate, and that's when I actually ended up being a real estate by accident. By accident, I was that time there was this shop on Bond Street called the HMV that sold CDs. And that was my passion.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
looking for a job in London, that was the first place I went. That was actually the biggest music shop on Bond Street, close to Oxford Street in London.
Okay.
And so that was where I was working, and I met a gentleman there who happened to own a real estate company, and he gave me his number out of the blue at that time, because he needed some support, and I did help him there. So, and then he called me a few weeks after. He's like, "Look, he never called."
Yeah.
And I
Oh,
said,
he called you.
and I said, "Oh yes, but you said I should call you when I need you. I don't really think that." He was like, look, I have this business, real estate business that I want you. And I'm like, I've never done real estate before. You're like, look, the way that you spoke to me, the way that you supported, I think you do well anywhere.
Wow.
So that's how I come. And as a matter of fact, I mean, when I went to his office for the first time, I was in shock. I was like, look, wow. I had no idea this was where I was going.
Yeah.
Coming.
It was like huge or
No, I mean,
sophisticated.
very,
What was it?
very sophisticated. I mean, and that's one thing that I also learned living abroad, that rich and successful people don't usually come up in suits.
Yeah.
There's somebody who was a
And just for the record, I'm the one in suit. But he's not. I'm just saying.
No, this is a multi-millionaire who came to the shop in Jackson, is some t-shirt all worn out, and coming to buy that time. I think it was he was trying to buy there's a white boy trying to buy a rap album. So I was like, okay, so which one should I? Because I think he was trying to impress a girl at that time. So I did not think that he was, but then again, you don't judge a book by the cover.
Yeah.
That was a lesson then.
Yeah. Wow.
So from there I moved to St. George's. St. George's, they were property developers. They were developing along the Thames River in central London.
But hold on there. So that first real estate experience, you hadn't worked in real estate before.
No.
And what role did they give you?
So I started working there. They said as a customer support person. Okay, the money was good, so I do it.
Okay.
Then it was like, okay, so can you help us do lettings? And in the UK, the lettings is actually selling homes. And so I said, yeah, fine, I'll do that. So, and I had no clue at that time in terms of even mortgages, how to sell homes. I had zero clue. I mean, I know that in Ghana, if you want to buy a home, you just you build it. You buy land, you build it. So that was a new experience for me.
And then
you look for amazing, and then you go along the way. So it was a different environment that I had to actually learn everything from the scratch. But that experience also taught me that it's not everybody who live in the UK who's rich or who's okay, because then my friend Henry Champon that I used to work with, he loved this group of people that is called DSS. DSS meant people who the government actually had to pay for their housing.
Okay.
So these are people who basically, if the government don't pay for their homes, they will be homeless. So having that experience and seeing people who like, oh wow, these are people who have the British visas, who have the British book, they we call it Red Book at that time, who basically who are helpless. So that was also another light bulb moment, that because that time when you were in Ghana, when you were in Kumasi, you think that once you get abroad, everybody is okay.
Yeah.
But then you know that there's millions of people in the UK who are not okay.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
Who are not okay, and it's humbling, and it's not it's not different when you move across the pond to the US.
Mm-hmm.
I remember my first walk in Washington D.C. and I saw people like begging on the street. I was like, "I see
Yeah.
My colleague was like, "Look, there are probably more homeless people in Washington D.C. than in the whole of Ghana."
Yeah.
And so it was also another light bulb moment that it's like, okay, so where the environment that you are in, you have to take advantage of it and make good use of it. Otherwise, you could be anywhere, but you could still be, you could still not be okay.
Interesting. Well, if you're just joining in, this is Personality Profile here on Joy 99.7 FM, and this evening I'm spending time with the Managing Director of the State Housing Company Limited, Mr. Kwabena Ampofo Appiah. We call him Virus, and he's got a very interesting life story. Now, you moved to the UK a bit, spent a bit of time in the US, studied in the US as well, right?
Yes.
I think you did public administration at the time.
Yes.
And now from the science, you went into real estate, and you are now in public administration. What informed that choice, of course?
So it actually, I decided to do public administration. I think it was somewhere in 2009, 2010, when one of my mom's very good friends, she's Dr. Dosia Saka. I was actually going to do an MBA, and then she was like, "Look, you seem to be very interested in politics.
Mm.
You seem to always have an opinion about everything that's going on. Why don't you do public administration rather than an MBA?" And like at that time, I did not even know there was a course called public administration. So I started researching it, and said, okay, and I found it very interesting. I found it, so I decided to, okay, let me see.
But at what point did the love for politics come in?
I think politics has always been, I've always had the love for politics. I mean, I did student politics back in my day at KNUST and even at K Poly. And so it was something that I've always been interested in.
Yeah.
But I've always been the advocate person.
Okay.
I've had never been the person who is want to be in leadership in politics. Back in when I was in the university, I mean, almost all my friends always like, you would never ever contest for anything, but you're always in everything. I'm like, well, I'm here to make sure you do the right thing.
Yeah.
And I'm interested in the politics, but I was never ever interested in being in the political leadership per se. And it's something that I still struggle with. It's not something that I'm...
So at the point that you decided to pursue public administration, you were certain that, look, I'm getting into politics full time?
Not really. Not really. It was more about curiosity than anything else. I wanted to understand how politicians think.
Okay.
That was what drove me into it. I wanted to understand why certain things happen. I had close encounters at that time with a lot of people, especially who were in leadership in Ghana in 2009, there about 2010, and I was like, okay, so I wanted to understand how the politics work.
Okay.
And that's why it was more about curiosity and trying to get to know the bureaucracy, how the bureaucracy works, how things move in the back end.
And now you're knee deep in it because in 2017, the president appointed you as the MD for state housing.
Yes, and that's...
Were you in Ghana at the time?
No, I was not. That time I was working with Fannie Mae. Fannie Mae is the full name is the Federal National Mortgage Association. This is the biggest real estate in the world. It's a Fortune 500 company. Fannie Mae has about 70% of the real estate market in the United States. So I was working in the head office in Washington D.C. And so when the president won, that was when I was asked to come down to Ghana.
But you had a very good job at Fannie Mae.
It's
Or it wasn't that good.
whatever. I think that's probably the most difficult decision that I had to take in my life. Moving from UK to US wasn't that much of a
Yeah.
and that time, look, I was a young boy or a young man. Fannie Mae is probably the most sought after job in the United States, and then you have it. You've been able to rise through the ranks. You get to a position, and then there's this opportunity to come to Ghana, and then you know that, look, you have a big mouth, you have an opinion and everything. You are the one who is criticizing everything. I actually helped draft the infrastructure part of the MPP manifesto in 2016. So now it's okay. Come and
Execute the
show
ideas. Come and show working.
show working. So at that time, you have a young family, and then you have relaxed that. Look,
It was you were married at the time.
yes, and
They were with you there.
yes, my daughter at that time was just 2 years old.
Wow.
So it was like, okay, so, and then leave and everything. I remember the first time that I went to work, and I told my colleagues that I have to go to Ghana to do this. The first reaction was like, you must be out of your mind. And as a matter of fact, that at a point I thought I was out of my mind.
Wow.
But then I've always liked challenges. And it was a challenge that I was.
So what was
going
the
to
deal
take.
breaker for you?
In terms of moving me
Yes.
to Ghana? I don't think there was a deal breaker per se. My point was, okay, so now you've done real estate in the UK, you've done it in the US. I joined Fannie Mae at a point where Fannie Mae was under conservatorship. Basically, it was going bankrupt. The government had to bail them out. I joined a team that the tax was bring the company back to profitability. That time, I mean, if you Google Fannie Mae in 2007, 2008, and it's all bad news. So, and I remember my first day at Fannie Mae, I just got in. I was given a huge file, a laptop, and I was told that you have 2,000 calls to return. I was like, 2,000 calls from who? I was like, well, 2,000 calls from people in distress, people who are losing their homes. I'm like, how am I going to do this? So that was my fire at Fannie Mae. That was the first day. I just checked my laptop and I saw, I would never forget, 2,895 missed calls.
Wow.
And I was like, look, you need to talk to all these people and give them options. Find out how you'll be able to save their homes. Give them different mortgage options. Do a loan workout for them. And mind you, I was British at that time. So coming to an American system, now you have to learn everything again.
Yeah.
So it was challenging. And first...
So I'm wondering what then made you decide that, okay, I'm going to leave this and come back to Ghana.
Coming to Ghana, my whole thought was, okay, so we don't have a real estate industry as I knew then in Ghana. And this was an opportunity for me to start something. It was an opportunity for me to also help support it. And I got to Ghana, I think my first day at State House, and when I walked into the office, I actually came down with one of my colleagues from Fannie Mae because he said I wanted to see where I was going to work. When we walked into State House and we went to the MD's office, when we got out, he was like, Faris, you really think this is what you want to do? And I said, I'll think about it.
Yeah.
So I was in Ghana for a few days just to see how it is.
You had not resigned then?
I had not resigned then. And so when we were going back on the flight, he was sitting next to me and kept on saying that, look, dude, don't do this. Don't do this. And I was like, if I don't do it, I'll be chickening out. And that was not how I was raised.
Were you going to earn more in Ghana than in the US?
Oh, by far, no. You can't
No.
even compare. You can't even compare.
Wow.
No, you can't. I mean, it's a very unfair comparison.
Okay.
Very unfair comparison. But I like the challenge, and yes, it wasn't an easy conversation. Having that conversation with my family, having you know, then now moving back to Ghana
Yeah.
to basically start life all over again, and it was also it was a humbling experience.
What was the biggest challenge at State Housing when you took over?
Lack of systems. I was used to, working in an environment that the systems work. When I got to State Housing, I was like, okay, so we don't even have working emails. We don't have working internet. I was told that, oh, you don't even have. That there was no technology. So that was a huge thing. I mean, we didn't even have a website. So that was a challenge in terms of the systems that were not in place.
Okay.
I wasn't used to reading like physical files. I was used to reading electronic files.
Right.
So having to go to the office and seeing 100 files that you have to review, that was challenging for me.
Right.
In terms of being spoiled, working abroad, and just with a click of a mouse, you'll be able to get every information that you want. But now you have to actually physically have to send somebody to the records room, having to move files and bringing it to you. That was a challenge for me.
Was it profitable at the time? Was the company a going concern?
I wasn't expecting it to be profitable. I mean, I was told that I was going to head an organization that needed help. That was something that I knew about. What I wasn't sure about was the extent.
Okay.
I knew that there was a company that needed some help, but I didn't know the extent. And when I got in, the first few months, going through the books, listening to all the horror stories, that was when the reality actually hit. That look.
And a part of you was saying maybe your friend was right.
I always say he's right and he's wrong.
Yeah.
But it was. I've not regretted coming.
So, what kind of leadership style did you have to employ to be able to make it work?
So I've always believed that if you're a leader, you are there as a figurehead. You are not. I mean, you are there because you happen to be there by grace. I always believe that if you're a leader, you have to bring people along. So my style has always been, okay, so what is it? How do we get things better? When I moved to State Housing, again, I was very new in the Ghana real estate industry. I didn't know anything. So now I have to learn. And you've learned from people who have been there, who know what they are doing, and also trusting in professional advice. I always believe in that. That I'm not an architect.
Right.
I'm not a lawyer. So if I need legal advice, I need to speak to a lawyer. I need to speak to an architect. I need to speak to the expert. And then, based on the advice that they give you, that is when I make a decision on it. So I believed in sort of an inclusive form of leadership where you listen to people. I think that is one strength that if you're a leader, you should have.
One of the missions probably you were entrusted with was to make sure that you provide affordable housing. You help build affordable homes, basically, so that the ordinary Ghanaian can afford a home, like you said in your. Do you think you have been able to, achieve that mandate?
No. We've had some successes, but I don't think we are there yet. And to get to the point that I believe that we would be there, there's a number of things that have to happen. And I started with having a credible mortgage, for example. And then we'll be able to make homes affordable. Because Lexis, if you are to buy, I know you are rich, but
calm down, brother.
If you are buying a home for say 1 million cedis, and then you have to pay it within 3 months or even a year, that is not affordable.
Yeah.
But if you have a home of even 1.5 million, and you are to pay it over 30 years, suddenly becomes affordable. So I've always believed that homes, I don't believe in compromising quality. Our definition of affordable housing, especially in Sahara Africa, is low grade, ugly homes. I don't believe in that. I believe that people should be able to live in a home where they want to retire in, not living in a home that they will think that in future I'll get rich and buy another home. The way that I believe that we should make homes affordable is actually having a credible scheme that people will be able to have a longer time to pay. Now with the National Affordable Mortgage Scheme, it's up to about 25 years to pay. We are making making baby steps there, and I say we've not achieved that because still the interest rate is around 12 to 15%. So the interest rate is still high. So it still affects that for affordability.
So as it stands now, you'd say that your homes are not affordable.
The homes are affordable. The financing of homes is what is not affordable. I mean, we are building homes that are, if you look at the pricing that state housing have compared to the market, I mean, it's about something about 50% in other areas. I mean, in Adenta, for example, homes that we are selling in Adenta, if you look at the market in that area, our pricing is about 60% less than the market. You would say it's affordable. I mean, yes, the price is good. But for homes to be affordable, I don't just look at price.
Okay.
I look at how is the person able to buy it. And the way to do that, apart from the incomes going high, we also have to have credible mortgages. Because that is what affordable housing is all about. It is not building a home that is 10,000 cedis. That is affordable housing. If you focus on just reducing prices, you would also be reducing quality. So and that does not make an affordable housing program. For an affordable housing program, it has to have the two components: one at the supply side, building at a relatively okay price, and also the demand side, people being able to have access to mortgages. To me, that is key to affordable housing. Otherwise, we could be running around in circles. Because Lexis, look, it's not everybody who can even buy 100,000 or 50,000 city home in Ghana. But I believe that if you give the person the avenue to be able to source the funding for it, even if the home is 500,000, they'll be able to afford it. At that point, we would say we are doing affordable housing. Otherwise, we'll just be running around in circles.
Anyway, I need to commend you. You've done a good job. I think earlier this year as well, there was a short cutting for the 800 unit project, right?
Yeah.
That's in
Pokuase.
In Pokuase as well.
Because that's also another project that I'm very passionate about. Because I've always believed that the government have no business constructing homes. I believe in that. That the government should make the environment conducive for homes to be built by the private sector. Well, you could say I'm biased because I come from a very private sector driven economy, but that is how it's supposed to be. So, and that is where we are now, and that's why I said that we have some successes, but to me, it's still baby steps where the government is not building. What the government is doing is providing the land and infrastructure, and then say the private sector should go out and build it. And I think that is the way to go. I've never believed in the government, borrowing money, giving it to individuals to go and build affordable housing. It, to me, it's something that is so colonial, and it's something that I'm glad is behind us now. It's not something that we should be doing as a country.
What's the biggest lesson life has taught you, Virus?
I think it's actually humility. I believe that if you are humble, you can get a lot of things. If you are helpful, you can get most things. Throughout my story that I told you, you would realize that I've never had to apply for any job in my life. Everywhere I've been through somebody give me a call or meeting, and out of the blue, somebody helping out. I've never had to sit in front of, say, I'm the one who can do this XYZ. I mean, I worked with Marcus Bafboni on an event in Kumasi. He was in Love FM. He was like, look, I like the way that you work. Come, let's work here. When I was in London, the same way. Every job that I've had is always through a referral. And I believe that if you are helpful, it takes you far. If you're humble, it even takes you further.
Wow.
And I've also believed that you should always be in competition with yourself. That's something that my grandfather actually, drummed it in my head when I was growing up. It was like, look, the only person who can beat you is you.
Nice.
If at the end of the year you are doing an assessment and you think that you were better last year than this year, you're failed.
Then you're failed. That's a very profound thing.
Yes,
I'm glad you shared.
Yeah, you should always look to be a better version of yourself. And the way that you do that is to work on yourself.
There you go. Man, I mean, you're a gem, honestly, and I'm happy we got to talk today on Personality Profile. You have an amazing story, and I'm glad. Thank you so much.
I'm glad.
MD of State Housing Company Limited, Kwabena Ampofo Appiah, aka Virus. You have 30 seconds to give us some bars as we wrap up. So let's go. You have the microphone, and then I can hand over to MFA Pao to give us the news.
MFA.
See, MFA is waiting for you.
Let's
go.
I just did.
Hey, you did MFA and freestyle.
Yeah.
Once again.
Oh, that's.
Anyway, thank you so much.
Thank you so much, Lexis. It's been a pleasure.
Yes. Thank you. Stay tuned into Joy 99.7 FM. I'm Lexis Bill. This Personality Profile, and I've been spending time with the MD of State Housing Company Limited, Mr. Kwabena Ampofo Appiah, aka Virus. It's 8 o'clock.